Greetings, Space Captains, and welcome back to Elite Dangerous, which I'm pretty sure I've featured on my channel before. I know I've streamed it at some point in the past, but that was a while ago. But actually, now, come to think of it, I don't know if I've done a video specifically on it. However, now's a good time because, of course, Odyssey has just come out. However, it's a bit of a mixed bag in that perhaps a little like CD Projekt Red's not particularly great launch of Cyberpunk 2077 earlier this year. This definitely feels undercooked and certainly has more than a few issues. However, there is still some good stuff here, and today I am going to go and look at some alien plants. So here we are in the cockpit of my Crate Mark II, which I think this is the one I have outfitted for mining. It's been a while since I've actually taken this out for a spin, but it's a nice cockpit, so I thought this would be a good one to start off with. And if you've played Elite Dangerous before, well, this is a very familiar view because aside from being able to get out into your SRV, which was the big thing that was added with the Horizons update, being able to explore planetary surfaces in a rover, well, up until now, everywhere else, you've just been stuck inside the cockpit. But no longer, because we now have this disembark option, which lets you get out and walk around. And it's this that really, finally, truly, maybe lets you appreciate the scale of some of the ships in this game. And this is only a medium-sized ship. There are, of course, much bigger. And in fact, I could even switch to one of my biggest ships just to give you a sense of quite how big these things are. And of course, it's always been the thing in this game that every single ship that you can fly is flyable by just one person, which when you look at the size of some of them seems a little bit daft almost, but yeah, it's one of the conceits of the Elite Dangerous universe. Now this is going to look a bit different to some people. They have overhauled the UI a bit. I'm not quite sure why, because it was perfectly fine and functional before, and if you still are only playing on Horizons, it hasn't changed at all. So if you switch between Horizons and Odyssey for any reason, it's a bit jarring, to be honest. I don't know why they haven't kept it unified, unless the plan is to actually bring it to Horizons later as well. But anyway, yeah, for some reason there's a bunch of stuff in this that could be in Horizons but isn't. So yeah, I've got my Type 9 and my Type 10, which are pretty much the same space frame, but we'll get the Type 10 because it looks a bit chonkier. And it's got a spoiler on the back, therefore is cooler. Yeah. I do have a Corvette that's a recent acquisition as well, but that's over at another station at the moment. That's far from fully outfitted. I spent a bunch of cash on that and then haven't actually been able to do that much with it yet because it requires even more cash to outfit it to a useful state. It's one of the things with this game, just because you can buy the ship doesn't mean you can actually usefully use the ship just yet. Because even letting aside the prospect of going through the engineering grind, you still have to spend quite a lot of money actually getting reactors and weapons and shields and things to do whatever. Now the frame rate's chugging a bit here. This is a larger bay and also a much bigger ship. And this is one thing that a lot of people have reported issues with, is the frame rates, especially in the existing ground settlements, the big ones that you can land at landing pads, as opposed to the new small settlements where you go and do the first person stuff. But yeah, the FPS is particularly appalling there. It's still good out in space, it's still absolutely fine for the most part, but there are just areas where, yeah, it absolutely needs a lot of optimization. So yeah, my Type 10 is a big boy. It's a chonker. It's a big old ship, and somehow I pilot it all by myself. But it does truly give you a sense of the scale of these things, and it's just not something you can get when you're sat in the cockpit for the most part. And the other space game, of course, where you can walk around, which is one I also reinstalled recently just to see what it's like these days, Star Citizen. Well, most of the ships there are of a much more sensible scale, although there are one or two quite big ones in there as well. But most of them aren't anything like this big. I don't think I'll be doing any Star Citizen videos anytime soon, however, as the performance of that is really terrible, even now, even on middling to low graphics. I was struggling to get above 30 FPS in some places. It's not so bad once you're out on a spaceship and flying around, of course, but when you start off in the port area and it's kind of chugging along at 25 to 30 FPS, yeah, it's not particularly pleasant. And of course, if I was trying to record that on top of it, it would be even worse. Anyway, as I said at the very start, we're going to do one of the new things, though. One of the new ranks is exobiologist, so basically going around scanning space plant life that you can find on atmospheric planets now, and you can actually make reasonably good money doing it as well. I did a little bit of that on whatever day today is, Saturday, so yesterday is Friday. Wow, my brain's running at full capacity today, clearly. I played a bit with Clyde the Monkey, who's a fellow Warships CC and also a big fan of this game, and aside from the utterly mixed experience of actually trying to meet each other in game, which we only successfully managed twice in the span of several hours, we did also poke around with looking at various things, including doing a bit of the biological samples scanning. So I kind of know what I'm doing with that now. Kind of. So this is my exploration Dolphin, there we go, the name escaped me temporarily. It's not the best exploration ship out there, but it's one of the better ones. It's certainly a viable choice for it. And yeah, I'm just going to be a scrub and auto-launch. And we'll find somewhere to go and land and see if we can find some stuff to actually scan. So, here we are, Zeta Cassiopeia, or is it Zeta Cassiopeia? I have no idea. I haven't been here before, so I'm going to have to scan the system first. Only 13 bodies, so that's not going to take too long. But I will say, you know, if you're wondering how on earth where I need to come, well, the game does a bit of hand-holding in that if you go to the codex, it's got basically a list of known locations. Oh, I didn't want the map, there we go. And you can see geological features, you can see known biological features, and so if I click on, say, this, it will tell me, well, we know for a fact that there are things in this particular star system. Now, of course, you can go and scan previously unscanned planets and discover new locations, and then presumably they'll get added to the codex. So it's more like a list of known knowledge rather than being truly hand-holdy, but it does mean that you've got somewhere to start off with. So we're going to do the quick usual system scanning thing to see which of these bodies might be the one we're looking for. And if you're unfamiliar with the process of scanning generally, I mean, this is just how you get the detailed system information. And then, of course, once we find the right planet, we're going to have to do a surface scan, which I am all tricked out for. Now, that doesn't have an atmosphere, so that's probably not the one we're looking for. And that one doesn't have an atmosphere. Now, I presume it's an atmospheric body we're looking for. that's going to have plant life. Or some kind of biological life anyway. Oh, that's got all kinds of lava and stuff. That has a lot of atmospheres at the... Okay, 14 atmospheres at the surface. That might not be the nicest place to go on vacation. That's only 2 atmospheres. I wonder if it might be that one. Well, we'll be able to get better detail from the system map once we're done anyway. That's atmosphereless rocky body. And... we're still missing a couple. That's just going to be a signal. We look around the star. Sometimes this process can take a little while. Sometimes it's obvious where things are, and sometimes it requires a little bit of patience. Oh, there we go. There's a signal there of some description. That is a gas giant. Obviously you can't land on those. That's the secondary star of this system, which I think only has that gas giant. There's clearly some other gas giants around somewhere. I'll try repositioning and see if that gives me better luck. There you're hiding, there we go. And that is a final gas giant. So, if we look at the system map, that will give us a better idea of where we can actually go. And as you can see, it's because of the filtering, I've got listed the 3 bodies that we can land on. Now we just have to figure out which one is the one we actually want to go to. Now, it's not actually secondary stars, I don't think. Well, if we look at the description. Oh no, these are... okay, this is interesting. This is a very unusual system. It appears to be very, very tiny red dwarfs orbiting this rather large, what is this? A B-class luminous blue-white star. Looks like a fairly big one. So, as you can see, oh, I'll zoom in a bit farther. That's one of the new views. You can actually see the landable bodies. I don't know if any of these have atmospheres. If it's got this kind of haze around it, that means it's an atmosphere. And you need that half circle around a haze. So, presumably, we're not actually looking for plant life that can exist on an atmospheric world. This must be something that can exist in a vacuum, which is very interesting. So we'll scan the 3 planets, and that will basically tell me if there's any like biological signals that I can pick up. So a little bit more legwork is required, but yeah, we're not far off now actually. Getting boots on the ground, as it were, and seeing if we can find what we're looking for. So here we are, first of our targets. We need to slow down a bit before I can use the surface scanner. You might see some flashes in the cockpit. There seems to be a bit of a graphical glitch there. Honestly, if it was just graphical glitches in this update, that would be a bit more forgivable than the consistent other issues that the game is having. I mean, the game, the expansion was actually gifted to me by another Warships streamer, Boomfunk, who you might recognise if you watch. Well, if you watch his stream, you'll certainly recognise his name. But also, he plays with Clyde as well fairly regularly. He hasn't been able to get into the game at all. And even when I was able to get in with Clyde, although we had just some difficulties logging in at various points on the stream we had the other day, like I intimated, we only actually managed to meet each other twice, and we had really consistent issues with using any of the team stuff, the wing related stuff. So there are definitely quite a lot of issues to work out yet, and a lot of people are not very happy it's been released in this state. I kind of can't blame them. It has been a bad habit of some game companies for quite a long time, and with the high-profile examples we've had this year, this is, you know, yet another to add to that list, I suppose. Right, this is a not insignificantly sized world. We could, I mean, I'm not too fussed about the efficiency bonus. It gets you a little bit of extra cash when you're turning in your data, but that's not really the biggest concern of mine right now.
Surface scan complete.
So there we go, that is now completed, and we actually have some filters, so you can filter for geological features, and I presume these little highlighted areas are the different geological features, but we also have a biological signal, so this planet does in fact have what we are looking for. So I think that should now show up in points of interest. Well, that tells me, okay, that just tells me various things that we found, but I'm wondering if we can just land anywhere, or let's give it a go. I'll put down on the surface, we'll hop into the rover, and we shall see what we can see. So, as you can see, we're going to make a nice normal landing. Ignore the fact the hull is at 1%. Yeah, of course, I had to go and do that while I'm recording. Of course I did. Right, I'm definitely going to use the auto lander now, because if I even so much as scrape the paint, it's going to explode. Although we have to find some flatter terrain, apparently. I can already see some anemones, so apparently they're quite abundant. We didn't have to go searching anywhere in particular. Man, of course, I'm recording! Of course, it's when I'm recording that I so massively and embarrassingly screw up. Of course it is. Oh dear, that was, yeah, that was special. I apparently haven't lost my touch in terms of just being massively derpy. Now, I can just run outside. In fact, you know what, that's super close. We will just run outside. We won't even bother with the SRV. Oh, cannot disembark, unsafe temperatures. Ah, okay, so we're going to have to use the Scarab. It might be possible to go out when it's daytime, but it is not at the moment, of course. We're on the night side, and the game does now model that. So if we turn on night vision, and well, there is one right there. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to scan this from inside my my SRV. Now, I'm just checking I've got my right suit. This is one of the things that this game, that this update has added, of course, is all the suits and different kinds of weapons that you can get. Now, I say all the different kinds. There's like 11 or 12 different weapons and 3 different kinds of suits. So you've got your kind of general scavenger suit, which is the Maverick, and these affect what tools and what kind of numbers of consumables you can take. You've got your entirely combat-oriented suit, the Dominator, or you've got your more science-focused suit, the Artemis, which actually comes with a bioscanner, which is exactly what you need to scan these. But I don't know if I can actually use it while I'm in the vehicle. We might have to wait until daytime before I can do that, or else fly around to the day side of the planet and not repeat my spectacular landing, because at 1% my ship will simply just explode. So here we are, almost in sight. We'll slow right down, and once again, let's do the auto landing, because I don't trust myself, and we can even maybe do third person just to see how it looks. Ooh. My nice dolphin, you wouldn't know that it's a 1% hull. Oh yeah, plenty of enemies around there as well. So this is the, whatever, some kind of little base there. That, well, I don't know. Just says artificial structure, so I guess we'll find out what that is. So there we go, it's found me a flattish spot to land. And hopefully I can actually get out on foot. Hopefully. Cannot disembark, unsafe temperatures. Oh dear, so I'm going to have to figure out how to do this from the SRV. In which case I didn't need to fly all the way over here, but you know, at least we get to see mothership hull. Yeah, I know it's a little bit dented. It's a little bit dented, it's fine. Nobody sneeze in the direction of my ship. It had to happen while I was recording. Of course it did. Of course it did. Oh well. Woo. Now this is obviously a reasonably higher gravity world. It's not quite the bouncy low gravity experience that I've had on the, what, 2 planets I've landed on previous to this, so that also was not something I remembered to check for. Because normally when I go landing on planets, it's at settlements to do trading or outfitting or whatever. So, yeah, it's been a while since I landed on a planet just to land on the surface of a planet. Ooh. Now, oh, have I... I might be struggling a bit on that rock there. Come on! Yeah, it's a little bit... oh, a little bit bumpy. There was some speculation as to whether there would be... am I going the right way? Or am I lost now? It was vaguely this direction, wasn't it? Yeah, there was some speculation there was going to be a new type of rover introduced, but we haven't seen anything along those lines yet. Right, I'm going to need a second to find my bearings. I've got them turned around somehow. So I'm not quite sure what we've found, but there's a couple of drones protecting it. They're not immediately hostile. There's a defense turret. Basically some kind of small installation, and I have no idea what it is, what's here. It's not an officially landable place. I'm definitely curious as to what this is. It has added, I mean, this update has added a whole bunch of new ground features. And of course, it has to add places where the first-person combat can take place for the first-person combat to actually take place. But yeah, oh, it's got a data point, so presumably you can potentially get a mission to come here and download some data from your SRV, which is a thing that was introduced in Horizons actually. So this might not be a new thing at all. It just happens to be on this planet where there's life. So let's go park next to one of those enemies. See if I can actually figure out how I'm supposed to scan the thing from inside without being able to use my hand tool scanner, which is what I was kind of hoping to be able to do. Right, it's telling me I can use my composition scanner, so we'll give that a go. And okay, that has given me a codex, and that's actually given me a codex bounty. Now, maybe I've gone and found myself something that was already in Horizons. I don't know. I might have to go to another planet where it's actually atmospheric life, because that's what I was wanting to show off, the actual landing and doing stuff with one's hand scanner on foot. of course, I can't actually do that here. I can only land and use my composition scanner, which is not what I was after at all. Well, there's a different thing. What's that? That's a hovering thing. Oh, cordyceps growth. I don't know if that's supposed to be hovering, but it is. Okay then. I'll try scanning this one, see if anything extra happens. No, I think we already have that. Yeah, I have no idea. There's a weird floating thing that maybe it's supposed to be on the ground and I can pick it up with the little cargo scoop that the SRV comes with, but who knows? It's floating in midair. Clearly I can't do that. Right, so I'm going to have to do a whole lot more jumping. We're going to have to go somewhere and repair first, and then we're going to have to find a planet that has some plant life, and as a bonus, if it had an atmosphere as well, that would be quite nice, so we could show off those effects too. Now, this is taking way longer to record than I thought it would, but yeah, I chose a planet that was completely unsuitable as it happened for what I had in mind. So here we are, second time's the charm. This is actually several hours later. I got a bit distracted mapping along the way and actually got some first footfall achievements, as you will have seen the little clips of as well. But now we're on a planet with an atmosphere and life that I can scan on foot, and it actually happens to be a much closer planet than I originally picked as well. So if I'd just gone for this one to begin with, this wouldn't have been such a saga, at least from my end. So there's supposed to be 3 types of life here, and I can immediately already see some big spirally mushroom things, and these I have encountered already, so we'll see if I am able to scan these once again. These might be a different species of this particular type of plant. It is interesting that there are similar plants across sometimes quite distant worlds, and so it kind of begs the question of, have they been dispersed to these different worlds somehow? It's not entirely clear. So let's do a scan, and yep, green means I can sample these. If they flash up blue, it means you can't, because it's too close to one you've sampled already. So it should be letting me sample, unless it won't, because it's that I've already... Oh no, there we go. Just needed the right thing to come up. So there we go. All that so I could come over here and find some lime osseous spiralis. Now I should have popped out in my my SRV to begin with, so I'll quickly run back, grab the SRV, and we'll complete the scan, because as you saw there, you need 3 separate scans for every type of plant that you encounter, and then you can basically hop to a station. As long as it's a big enough station. I don't think you can do it in the small stations. I think it has to be a large spaceport. Or possibly a ground settlement, but this is an inhabited system, so I should be able to do it quite quickly after taking off. I did try one of the little outpost stations, and they have more limited facilities compared to the big ones. So here we are, second group I've arrived at. I've blipped them and they're blue, which means we're too close to the group that I took the original sample from. But it's quite a large group, so we'll keep blipping, but no, it doesn't look like we'll be able to get any of these, so onwards to the next group. Now I've actually found a group of the other kind of surface plant, which are kind of cactus things, but one of the limitations of this system is you can only have one kind of active plant sample gathering at a time. So if I attempted to get out and I can actually show you. I mean, you know, it's not like I'm lying to you, but yeah, if you get out and go, oh, that's a different thing, I'm going to scan that. It'll say, yeah, the partial sample you already have will be discarded. Now, apparently, you can't just swap out the cylinder and have a fresh one in and then put the first cylinder back in when you've found a group of the existing mushrooms to scan, because that would be too easy. Personally, I kind of dislike that as a way of doing things, but anyway, there we are. That's what they've decided on. Now this is green. I can take this. You'll have noticed the cactus things were purple, so I suspect it's kind of going to be different colours for the kind of yes/no states of can I scan this for every type of plant, basically. So yeah, so we need to find another one of the mushrooms, and then I might bop over and scan these as well, because, well, there's pretty good money in scanning biolife, as we shall see. It's maybe not as lucrative as, say, you know, bounty hunting or trading or whatever, but it's still reasonably worth one's time. If you're kind of optimally trying to make oodles of money, then not really. Well, that's not why you're doing this. It's not to make lots and lots of money. Well, let's have a look, see if this is one we can scan. Probably not, but you never know. Sadly, there isn't a way to do this from inside the rover. That would be jolly handy. Nope. Here we go, last ones. So we just need to take the sample and there we go. Sample complete. And then somehow we put the same thing right back in. I don't know, you'd think you'd shove it in a pocket or something, but I guess it like converts the sample to, I don't even know, converts it to data or who knows. So let's go and get some of those cactus things next. Interesting, these ones are now green, and we also have this blob here. Now I'm wondering if this is the third type of life, which is a bacterial colony. Because it does tell you when you're scanning what kind of thing you have. And I'm also wondering if the purple, when I was scanning before, was it kind of visually telling me that, hey, you've already got a sample. So maybe green and blue is the default state, and it just flashes up purple if you've got an existing thing. So yeah, let's get a sample then, and I shall repeat the process. I'll spare you me driving around looking for more cactus things, and then I might as well, while I'm here, get the third lot. Now I know what I'm looking for with those bacterial colonies. Hooray! This took so goddamn long. So, after spending like an hour trying to find the third and last sample, I don't know if I was just horrendously unlucky or if they are the bacterial colonies are just rarer, but because you're looking for a patch on the ground, there's no visual indicator above the ground as obviously the plants stick up. Yeah, the fact that you can only be sampling one kind of plant at a time, turns out that's a massive pain in the arse. So I think that is a thing that just on a quality of life level, they should definitely have it so that you can be scanning multiple types of plant, that you can have multiple samples from different plants on the go and not be doing them one by one, because yeah, wow, that really that's just killed my enthusiasm so much. This is one of those things, and again, I was talking about this earlier. It's just like, why have you done this, Frontier? Why is this like this? Why did you think this would be a good idea? Anyway, time to fly somewhere, actually hand these in, see what kind of money I'm gonna get, and finally wrap up this video, because I've spent, like, I don't know, many hours at this point. Too many hours. So here we are, finally on an Orbis station. Time to go sell what took me so long to gather. It really was just those bacterial colonies. I probably won't bother with them in future unless they are worth super duper mega credits. But anyway, so this is a station template you'll be seeing a lot, and it's pretty standardized. Obviously the different sizes of station have different ones. If you land on the engineer stations, you can actually go and meet the engineers face to face, which is quite nice. Is this the place? Vista Genomics, yes, this is what we're looking for. So this is where you come and sell your genetic data, basically. So let's talk to this fella. I'd like to sell my organic data. And that was worth $500,000 for 3 samples, which is not terrible, but the amount of time it took to get me that third and final bacteria data, yeah, was not really worth it time-wise. So yeah, there we go, and that might have bumped up my rank a bit as well. I can probably also let's see if I can use the terminal to do it. I can sell, where are we? Pilots Federation. So yeah, if you've certain scans, like the vacuum life that I scanned, that you sell via this screen here rather than to Vista Genomics. It seems to be only the stuff you get out and scan with your hand scanner that you can sell there, and anything else that you're scanning from your SRV or from your ship you hand in via the station interface. And oh, I keep forgetting that I've actually got it set up so I use my controller for the SRV controls and the ship controls, but mouse and keyboard for walking around the place, because trying to aim with the controller does not work well. It's very, very clunky. So yeah, this seems like a good place to leave it, because this has been far too long a time spent recording already, so I'm quite glad to wrap this one up, to be quite honest. But yeah, I've been overall quite enjoying this so far. I'm yet to do any of the ground combat stuff, so that's probably what I'll try next. But there's definitely a fair few things to be desired, and I think a lot of the complaints people are making about Odyssey are perfectly valid, to be quite honest. So if you've been on the fence about buying it up until now, you probably are worth hanging on a bit longer until they sort some of the issues, some of the stability issues, implement some quality of life fixes, and generally optimize things a bit, because there's a lot of rough edges right now. So that's it from me and Elite Dangerous Odyssey. Hopefully you have enjoyed this look at biological scanning or xeno studies, or whatever you want to call it. And if you have, you can do all the usual things down underneath the video, and of course, as always, be interrupted by a mission provider.